Okay, so the real wargamer, Iron Cross, man-to-man combat on the East Front, 1941-42. Russians are moving on to the map. Okay, so yeah, now I remember. Thinking again about the rules, skimming some of the rules, I remember how for me anyways, how I have to approach this, playing this game, and that is, this is one of those games where I just have to keep moving forward, and hope and expect for the cards to fall into place, I guess, one by one over time. So again, I reviewed here. I cannot see anything wrong, but that doesn't mean that I won't find something later to show me that I did this wrong. But I think, you know, the first, so anyways, I'll put these guys back. This first rifleman, no, he's not a rifleman, this first infantryman came on here, the machine gun here, tried to do opportunity fire. They successfully rolled for observation, but then they failed for performance check. They failed their performance check. So I guess, I mean, it's a performance check. Even though they failed, they're supposed to be assumed to have, you know, taken that action. So I marked them as fired. There's something else. So what does that mean? Well, I did wonder, I mean, there's the rule about the movement, right? When you start the game, neither side needs to roll or do a performance check for moving until the first player rolls the first combat dice. So I'm assuming here that they didn't roll to actually fire. So I assume that we're still under that early game exception to performance checks for movement. I guess. And then he moved on to the top of the hill. Then I was thinking, let's see, I'll try to go in order here. I guess, I mean, moving into a new hex means that the moving Russian infantryman is eligible to be fired at again for opportunity fire. So, okay, so this machine gun here, you know, it just seems odd. Maybe, I don't know. What I'm finding on, and maybe this really isn't a problem. Maybe it's just really not a problem, but the first infantryman comes on the board. And I know this is speculative, but if the machine gun fires at it, that's all resolved. And then these other guys come on. Oh man, they come on the board, but they are not eligible to fire because it clearly says opportunity fire is once. It is just one opportunity, which makes sense for the time scale, I guess. Let me see. Yes. Wait, yeah, 2 minutes rule. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I can certainly think of another way to do it. Let me make sure I'm right on that. Well, for right now, I see a problem with moving on to the board and only moving on to the board. Maybe later on once everybody's on the board, and especially when everybody's taking performance checks, to move, what I'm talking about won't be an issue. But this is what's in writing. Units are always moved individually, except when affected by a leader. 8.3 leader directed movement. But see, that's not really an issue because no. Yeah, I don't know how to look at it, but play forward. All right, so yeah, and by the way, let me just say the obvious. Part of my struggle with the design is not struggling with the rules, it's to struggle with the design, is that I know what I'm going to do, obviously. Yeah, I mean, okay, that is part of it, because if the machine gun fires now, well, first of all, the machine gun's done. Then I'm moving these three freely. On the other hand, if I move, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the exact same move. So in effect, they also moved as a stack, but not really, because when that guy tried to fire, he was only looking at one move. Anyways, forget that. Now here, I believe when you fire at, which is not true of all games, but now the machine gun, I am going to see if the machine gun can see. I think it's an issue of these two houses here. I might as well get to the whole line of sight and all that other stuff now. I am going to get to that now. And I'm assuming the line of sight's blocked, but I'm going to verify that. You know what? I'm not going to do that because if I was the German player, I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't do that as a German player. I don't think I would play it safe and not do that. So never mind that. But if these houses were not here and the machine gun could fire up here without any obstruction, I believe now, even though the last guy moved in there, when the German machine gun fires, it is against everybody in the hex. I saw that recently. And what was the exact wording? The exact wording was, opportunity fire. Where did I see that? I saw that. Where? Oh no. It's right here. Only hexes into which enemy units are moving may be designated as target hexes for opportunity fire. All units in the target hex, moving or not, are subject to the fire as in normal fire combat. So I think, in effect, it would be treated as firing at the whole stack, even though they moved individually. So what does that mean? I mean, I think that if there's any possibility of being observed, you would want to spread out. Yeah, I think so. I guess I should have put movement markers on all these guys. They don't have enough movement points to change status during their move, because that takes 2 MPs per change. So I have to wait for the free. Okay, so reaction movement. There is reaction movement, but the Germans aren't going to do any. Defensive fire phase. The non-phasing player may attempt to fire any of his normal status units. Units that perform reaction movement and or opportunity fire may not fire. So So he attempted opportunity fire. Even though he failed his performance check, he is treated as if he did fire. How do they do that? They say, anytime a unit takes a PC, that's a performance check, regardless of the result, it is considered to have performed that action. So it is considered by rules to have conducted opportunity fire. So now, oh, I know what. Now we're not limited by the range limitations of opportunity fire. Yeah. So now these riflemen can fire. Would they want to? See, normally I would fire to exercise the rules, but I'm not sure I want to. Would I really? The idea, of course, is that I believe the design is going to penalize these guys for firing because of observation. And so why would they open up fire this early? I'm going to say no. The Germans, I'm not going to do this to exercise the fire rules. The Germans are not going to open up fire, so there's no defensive fire, moving fire phase. So the phasing player may attempt to fire any of his normal status units. Units that have already fired in this player turn may not fire in this phase. Infantry and AFV units which have moved may fire, but with a penalty modifier. Crude weapons units that have moved may not fire. Obviously, all these guys could do attempt moving fire, but again, they're not going to. That the penalties would be too. I'll go ahead and assume that these penalties are just going to be too stiff. That it's not worth it. Yeah. So that is that. Yeah. All right, self-fire. Okay, now we have the free up-down state change. Both players participate. Each player, phasing player first, may change the up-down state of any of his units within the restrictions. And now, do they have to do a performance check at this time? We know it's no movement point cost. Where is it? Both players may change the combat states of any of their units once at the end of any assault phase at no MP cost. That's now. Do they need to? I guess they don't. I guess they don't. It doesn't make sense. Does it make sense? No, I don't think it makes sense that they should have to do that. Yeah, so these guys are definitely going to go down. Okay, so what would be next is since the player phase, the non-phasing player now becomes the phasing player. Repeating these steps. When does the fired marker? When is the fired marker removed? When is it removed? All right, so this is the it's on the other side of the map. There, it's the German turn. When would you want to fire, or does it matter? No, I guess because you have your support fire phase. You have your I'm trying to think. In your own turn, you can do support fire, movement fire, what are they called? Moving fire. And you can do, well, I guess that's it. Okay. I think. Okay, this is what I checked. So it's per player turn. So I assume at the end of the Russian turn, that would be removed. That would be removed from the German machine gun there. So we are going to try one fire attack. Support fire phase. First step, announce attack. Machine gun is going to fire. Is going to attack this hex here. All right, announce attack. Determine line of sight. So when I string it like that, it is just the little house in hex 2723 right there that I need to determine. It is closer to the higher. Wait, it is closer. It's closer to the higher unit, and that's just. I would think that the machine gun can see over it, but let's look at the actual rules. Okay, scratch that. I don't think that's gonna work. I need to review some things later, but I don't think that line of sight is good. It's not as simple. The game uses an actual range to lower hex sighting chart, and therefore I don't think that is actually good. So just scratch that, and I'm not going to treat that as fired as normally you would. So basically these are really, really low, very low hills. They're really just patches of slightly high ground. So all of these houses here in front of this second line here are almost entirely blocking everything over here. So that's that. Now, obviously, I could fire with these ones, but again, I'm not going to open up fire that early, so I don't think the Germans are going to do anything. So we would get to the end of the free up-down state unit change, which is both players. Neither side wants to change unit state.